Hey everyone, and you're listening to Ankur Warikoo on Voice with Warikoo. On this podcast, I talk to you about entrepreneurship, how to grow in life, manage personal finances, handle failures, and a lot more things that just come to my mind. The episode begins. All right, so this is a podcast on things that I would tell my 20-year-old self. And it's basically a list of 5 things that I wish I had told myself when I was 20, or someone had told me when I was 20. So the other day on Twitter, someone was celebrating their 20th birthday. And it was a very simple but a very powerful question that that person asked, which was, hey, I'm turning 20 today, and what advice do you have for me? Or what would you tell your 20-year-old self? Which is a question that gets asked quite often. And I was tempted to respond because I often think about this question. And usually I boil it down to 1 or 2, 3 things. But I wanted to stretch myself and see what are the things that I wish I was told when I was 20, or I knew when I was 20, but perhaps didn't do much about, or things that I did when I was 20, and it's helped me tremendously. So I responded to that tweet with 5 things that I thought were things that that person should know on their 20th birthday, which is what I wanted to share with all of you. Number 1, spend time with people who are nothing like you. Go back to your first day of college. Go back to your first day at work if you started working. And you were thrown amongst this bunch of people who were very different from each other. They looked different, they spoke differently, they dressed differently, they came from different backgrounds, they had different experiences, different worldviews. And within the first hour, first day, first week, we actively went about searching for people who were like us. We wanted to find people who were similar to us. We wanted to find people who looked like us, spoke like us, had the same experiences as us. I saw that happening at ISB. When within the first week itself, the engineers were hanging out with the engineers, and the lawyers with lawyers, and the CAs with CAs, and Delhi people with Delhi, and South Bombay with South Bombay, and Chennai with Chennai, and music with music, and whatnot. And I think the biggest thing that has helped me in my 20s, and I don't know where I got it from, but I'm just so glad that I had that, was that I actively spent time with people who were nothing like me, who were so different from me. Because I always felt that that is the best way to know something that you don't. When you open up social media today, when you open up your Instagram feed or your Twitter feed or your LinkedIn feed or whatever else that you go to, you don't see stuff that provokes you. You don't see stuff that challenges you. You don't see stuff that contradicts your point of view. You only see things that you already believe in. All that you see are things, are content, are views, are ideologies that just amplify your worldview. They're not challenging it. They're not giving you a different perspective. And that's what happens when you spend time with people who are like you. They are just telling you what you already know. I remember this quote, and it was very powerful when I read it. You never get to know anything new from someone who says yes to you. Think about it. You never get to hear or know anything new from someone who says yes to you. It's so powerful. But that's exactly what happens when you spend time with people who are like you. So the first advice that I had for that person was spend time with people who are nothing like you. That will ensure that you become a better version of who you are, not just a bigger version of who you are. Number 2, live like a pauper. Live like a poor person. No one expects you to be a rich person in your 20s. That's the best thing. There is no expectation on anyone. Everyone's like, oh, college khatam karo, just get a good job, just get settled. And then after that, we will think about where you are in life and what car you drive and what phone you have and whatnot. But we get stuck in our minds of the image that people have of us. And in our 20s, that's the worst mistake we can make if we think that money is the way to solve for that or to create that image. Live like a pauper, man. Just live like a pauper. Spend nothing. Your basic bare bone needs have the lowest pairs of jeans or trousers or skirts that you need, the lowest pair of t-shirts that you would need or tops that you would need, and just survive in that. And whatever is it that you save, just invest like a maniac. Just invest as if there's no tomorrow. Invest as if you're paranoid. Because this is the best time to form that discipline. If you don't find that discipline right now, you'd always struggle to invest money. I have interns working with me who at the age of 18, 19, 20 have started investing, and I'm so envious of them. Because back then, well, I didn't even have money, but frankly, I didn't even have the wherewithal or the wisdom to start investing. All that I did was crappy FDs, which my parents suggested. Worst idea if you want to invest your money. Invest in equities, invest in crypto if you want to, but invest, because if you do that, you will experience the power and magic of compounding. Here's a fun fact. If you were to invest the exact same amount for 20 years, but you started at 20, and if you were to invest the exact same amount for 20 years, and if you started at 30, you would have half the amount if you started at 30. That's how much compounding matters. Just a decade would halve your wealth. If you were to invest in your 20s till the age of 40, you will have double the amount of money as against if you were to invest that exact same amount from your 30 to your 40s. It's crazy. Number 3, learn how to tell a story. Learn how to tell a story. With reducing attention spans, with reducing interest, the biggest superpower that you can have is if you know how to tell a story. And telling a story does not necessarily mean that you are great with the English language, that you are a great verbal communicator. Know how to tell a story through whatever mechanism you're good at. Know how to tell a story through your words. Know how to tell a story through your art. Know how to tell a story through your spoken diction. Learn how to tell a story through the emails that you write, the presentations that you make. Learn how to tell a story through the sports that you engage in. Learn how to tell a story through the images that you create or click. Learn how to tell a story. Because if you know how to tell a story, people will listen. And if you can get people to listen to you, my friend, you will have the world at your feet. Number 4, spend time with yourself. Learn how to spend time with yourself. It's just so easy for us to be spending time with someone or something. It's either someone, or it's our phone, or it's our book, or it's our television, or it's our computer, or it's our laptop, or it's something. But we're basically just spending time with anything and everything except our own selves, our own minds, our own thought. Spend time with yourself, because that's the first step you will take to fall in love with yourself. Meditation is a great start. If you can somehow get used to meditation in your 20s, it's the best gift that you will get yourself. Because that moment, that 30 minutes every day, that 45 minutes every day, that even 20 or 10 minutes every day, you will have the ability to close your eyes, listen to your breath, and hear your thoughts come alive. And at that moment, you will know exactly how to acknowledge your thoughts and send them away. I cannot even begin to tell you how powerful that is. Meditation and what it does to you is something that's very, very hard to explain. And if you have felt it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, I will always struggle to explain it to you. Please discover it for yourself. And number 5, sleep and eat well. Most of us in our 20s just completely messed this up. We slept odd hours, we ate shit, we ate odd hours. We basically just messed around with our body, abused it, never paid attention to it, never respected it. And you know what? In your 20s, you're not going to feel any bad thing. You really won't. Because the body is just so beautiful that it will resist all the damage that you're making it go through. And it won't even show you any signs. But then come your 30s, oh my God. That is when the shit will hit the fan. That is when you will have all the damage come to light. that you have subjected your body to in the last decade. If you can get yourself to sleep well, sleep in a disciplined fashion, doesn't mean sleeping early, doesn't even mean sleeping late, just sleeping in a disciplined fashion every single day, the same time, and getting up at the same time, eating well, paying the amount of respect that you ought to give your body. If you're not physically active, then eating in the right quantity. If you are physically active, then eating maybe by a stretch, but still eating sane things. All of that will ensure that you don't set yourself up for any physical damage come your 30s. These 5 things: spending time with people who are very different from you, living like a pauper, investing all the savings that you have, learning how to tell a story so that you have people's attention, spending time with yourself and making the first step towards falling in love with yourself, and sleeping and eating on time, and sleeping and eating well. Those will be 5 things that I wish I had told my 20-year-old. Those are 5 things that I wish I can tell you. Those are 5 things that I would love for you to imbibe in your life. All the best. Thank you for listening to this episode of Woice with Warikoo. To be notified of upcoming episodes, be sure to subscribe and follow the show on this app right now. Also, don't forget to rate and review the show because that just feels nice. Thank you. If you like this podcast episode, then please remember to subscribe to the channel because every week you will be notified.